Hi, so before we get into today's podcast episode, I just wanted to add this little bit on to the beginning, because the biggest topic we talk about in this video is to do with the Epstein files and the fact that they're lost or now being told that, you know, they don't exist by the Department of Justice. And I was watching a few other reactions to this post making this video, and I was just like, oh, I missed out so many really important points here, so I just wanted to add a couple of extra thoughts in here. And I think the main thing I wanted to say is the importance of this and the lies that are now being portrayed, because let's be honest, they are totally lying about this, and they totally are still out there, and we don't really know why they're lying to us, and it's all very crazy, right? But the main thing about that and why that's so serious is because these are very, very high profile people that are going to be on this list, and we want to see prosecution. And it's not just the people of the US, like as I mentioned in the video, it spans to the UK, it spans a lot of countries, because Epstein had a lot of influence and was quite high up in quite a lot of countries in terms of, you know, that we know. So this is really, really important, and it's crazy that this is coming from Trump, who, I mean, as you mentioned in the episode, throughout his campaign said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be like full transparency on the JFK files and also the Epstein files, and it was all going to come out. And the publicity stunt with the influencers that we talk about, you know, it's just all it's very unsettling. And it doesn't exactly bode well for the Trump administration. It's actually really disappointing that we're seeing this. So just wanted to add that in there, that, yeah, this is a very, very serious thing. And the fact that it's being brushed under the rug now, it just leaves a lot up to speculation and the imagination, I suppose. And it's infuriating. It's yeah, we're going to talk about it in the episode. Just wanted to add this in here. Enjoy the rest of the video. This might just be the biggest scandal of the Trump administration 2.0 that we've had so far, okay? And this is saying something, but the USA is angry. People across the world will be angry. I'm angry, shocked, confused. Let's talk about the Epstein files, or the lack thereof. That's the question. We don't really know. They're telling us one thing, they were telling us another. I don't know. The whole campaign was propped up by this thing that apparently now no longer exists. I have no idea. Let's discuss it. Welcome back to Playing in Politics, the Politics and Makeup podcast hosted by me, Anna, hi, where we talk about politics and I do my makeup at the same time. It's like Bailey Sarian, but without the murder. Although it's Jeffrey Epstein, and that's the question, isn't it? But yeah, this is insane. As I get on with my makeup, listen, I was looking up things to talk about on the podcast this week, and I was starting to struggle a little bit. I had like a few things maybe here and there that I could maybe string together, and then this popped up, and I was like, oh, Brett Cooper, who I watched, by the way, to get all the information for this episode. Oh my god, did she cover this well, and she made some incredible points, but I also have many, many thoughts about this whole thing. But I'd also seen the headlines even before I saw her video as well, but that's part of the reason why I clicked on it, because I was like, I want to see what she said. Obviously she's American, so she's gonna have, you know, a better perspective on this from the Americans' point of view. But oh my god, is this crazy. Now, obviously, if you're on this channel, I'm assuming that a lot of us will be Trump supporters, or have been in the last, as of the last election. And as much as I said at the time, like, me in 2020 would have been like, excuse me, because I was convinced that Joe Biden was going to cure gun crime and the school shootings and all these things. Obviously wasn't the case. We've talked about that in previous episodes, but yeah, the whole, like, there was a big point, as I said, in Trump's campaign, obviously wasn't the main one, but it was a big one, especially to the American people, was releasing the Epstein files. He was so passionate about being transparent about all of this, and rightly so, because obviously Epstein and that whole situation is disgusting, is scandalous, is insane, and deserved to be exposed in every aspect. Now, obviously, there has been elements of this whole case that has been exposed a little bit, and even recently, like Brett Cooper was saying, like they released this document, which was basically things that we already knew, to these influencers, and there was this picture of them stood outside some building with these pieces of paper, like with these documents on, and it was like, oh, is this gonna be like a big bombshell? And turns out it was basically just all the stuff we already knew. But now they've closed the case because they've basically come out and said that, oh yeah, there's no missing file, like, you know, there was never any missing file, so we've closed the case. Just closed the case on a random Monday. It's insane. Like, now, obviously, we've got a lot of other things going on in the world at the moment, but this is obviously a really big case, and they've just closed it out of nowhere. It's absolutely insane. Now, obviously, people who are not necessarily in the UK, although Prince Andrew, this case does still affect us, because obviously Prince Andrew was involved with Epstein, and that's how he, you know, the whole scandal surrounding him, and that's how we found out he was a dodgy individual. So this doesn't just affect the US, but obviously it does affect the US in a big way, especially because, you know, allegedly, in America, the big point that at least stuck out to me with how Trump's reacting to all of this is, allegedly, Trump was seen with Epstein, wasn't he? Allegedly, right? I'm not saying that he was involved in the island and everything, but you know, that's obviously the rumor is they just were friends and they were pictured together, but he never went to the island. That's the rumor, right? But it's just interesting. It's just interesting. I don't know. Again, we're gonna discuss all of this, but yeah, to just close the case on a random Tuesday and then just give these influencers like basically non-information is pretty insane to me. Again, and especially, and Brett brought this up a few times in her video that she talked about this, but like, this was such an underpinning thing of the Trump campaign this last time, like, was Epstein and the Diddy case as well, which, I mean, we could probably talk about that a bit later. I mean, I need to catch up with that case, but hasn't he been, like, made innocent on, like, some of the charges, which is insane and I think is crazy, but again, I just need to, like, fully, like, perhaps we could talk about that in the comments. People fill me in on what's happened with Diddy, but yeah, it was a good point to make, and that, yeah, this was such a big thing of being like, yeah, like, no more transparency, like, sorry, like, all the transparency. I mean, now they're not giving any transparency, but, you know, at the time they were like, yeah, we're gonna be totally honest about this, we're gonna give you guys all the information of what happened with this, you know, we'll release all the files, all the names, all the list and whatever. And it was interesting because Elon Musk tweeted like, hey, because as we know, he's in a bit of like a rocky relationship with Trump at the moment, and he tweeted like something along the lines of like, you know, where's the Epstein files, like, why aren't you releasing the Epstein file kind of thing, and it's like, oh, get him, Elon. But yeah, again, it's just so bizarre to me that this is all happening. Yeah, like, it's insane to me that this has all happened and now is being kind of brushed under the rug. Like, Brett, she showed this clip of Trump in a meeting where he was, I think somebody must have been asking him, it was like a press thing, and someone must have been asking him about this, about like, you know, the Epstein thing, and like, you know, what happened to the Epstein files, like, you told us that this was all gonna come out. And he basically goes, we're still talking about Epstein? Like, really? Like, that's what you're bothered about when we've got all these other things? And I agree with what Brett said in that video, because she was like, yeah, I agree with that, but this was such a big thing as well. And I'm like, yeah, especially, like, the American people are obviously going to be so angry about this. And obviously, yeah, we've got all the things going on with Iran and all the conflicts and everything else. But in terms of like another like priority for the American people, this was a big thing, because a lot of people were expecting a lot of American celebrities to be on that list, and they all wanted to know like who to jail, who to boycott, all these things. I also just want to point out about like the whole Trump in the meeting being like, is this what we're still talking about? Ben Shapiro has gone and defended Trump on this. Like, he's come out and basically been like, yeah, his priority is sorting out the Gaza Strip and like that whole conflict at the moment, like, shut up about Jeffrey Epstein basically, which I also think is disgusting. Like, anyone who's defending that, I mean, granted, like, Trump is not directly involved, it's the fault of the Department of Justice and that woman, I can't remember her name. You know, he should still be, this is still a priority. It's not the priority, but it is still a priority. So the fact that he came out and said that was also quite disappointing. It's crazy. And another thing she mentioned as well, in terms of Epstein, like, this isn't the first time they've, like, conveniently lost things to do with Epstein, because the reason why there's so much speculation about whether he committed suicide in his cell or whether he was murdered or something like that is because they don't have the CCTV footage from his cell. Like, it glitched out for a minute, like there's no proper evidence. Like, again, we just know he was found in 2019 dead in his cell, and that's been the whole sort of speculation and meme and sort of joke about it is, you know, did Epstein kill himself? And the thing is, we don't know, and they're trying to brush it off now with everything else that's happened. They're trying to brush it off as like, yeah, he definitely did kill himself. Like, they're basically just trying to like shut everyone up with it now, which I think is very suspicious. Again, everything's alleged, but I don't know, it's just all very weird, and I want to know what you guys think in the comments about all this. But my question really is like, why are they covering up? Why are they covering this up now in the midst of everything that's going on? Like, yeah, obviously, as Trump said, and again, I don't completely disagree with what he's saying, but again, I think it's a bit suspicious that he's like, yeah, you know, if the files were still out there and they weren't gonna, you know, if he was trying to like say, oh yeah, don't listen to them, they're just being a bit like, they're lying basically, like we are still gonna release them, he would have said that. And that's what he's been saying the entire sort of campaign, and obviously not entirely his administration, because he's had other things to deal with, but like, you know, yeah, again, the campaign was, a lot of it was about this, so the fact that he's basically doubled down and being like, stop talking about Epstein, like this guy's been dead for so long, like, shut up, basically, is quite... it's really, really fascinating to me. It's like, why now? Now, as a whole, Trump is not a person to lie. You know, out of all the politicians we've ever had, and again, he's not a career politician, he's been a businessman for so long, which is why he makes us such a good politician, because he hasn't got that mentality the same as everyone else. We've talked about that on the podcast before, but the fact that he's got that has meant that he's not, you know, told lies, and he's actually, like, if he says he's gonna do something, then he'll actually do it, and that's what we've seen, especially with, you know, F around and find out, Iran and Hamas and people like that. You know, he's been a great help in helping Israel along with that, even though, as we know, there's been some clashes with Netanyahu and Trump on a few occasions, and that's fine. You know, you can, you know, the Israeli government are not perfect. Obviously, with them trying to eradicate Hamas and everything, it's good, even though the left aren't seeing it that way. And this whole thing, even though it seems very chaotic, is obviously quite good for, you know, especially the people of Iran, 100%. But I guess he's just been so focused on that he's forgotten his other priorities. And yeah, it was interesting the fact that he was literally like, why are we still talking about this? Even though it was quite clear why people are still talking about this, because again, it was such a big thing and they really want to know who it was. That's the whole point. We want to know the list, we want to know the people who were on the island. And again, I'm not trying to speculate at all, because that would be wrong. But why now? Why talk about it the entire campaign, and then when it actually gets to it, don't talk about it? Like, it's just really, really odd to me. That's the way it comes across. It's just very odd. It's just all very bizarre, and not in any good way, like, at all, right? Again, it's just like, why cover it up now? Why cover it up in the first place? Because he wasn't going to cover it up, that was the whole point. He was like, I'm not going to cover this stuff, I'm just going to be, like, fully transparent. And it's like, yeah, be transparent about something that the American people actually care about. Like, yeah, the geopolitics and everything, like, everyone cares about that, obviously, for the sake of the liberation of some of these nations from these terrorist organization sort of dictator governments. But like, at the same time, when it comes to things that like the people in your own country care about, this is definitely one of them. So again, it just seems really odd that this is now being sort of brushed under the rug in a really big way, like a really firm way as well. And again, I don't completely disagree with what Trump said of being like, you know, we have like much bigger priorities at the moment. Of course we do. But this is also a priority, not just for the people of the US, but also for the people of the UK, potentially. It depends who's on the list. We don't know. This is why we wanted to know. This is the thing. It's like, yeah, the dark side of celebrity. We've seen that with Diddy and all the people who were alleged to be involved with him. It's a similar case. So it's interesting as well, now that I've made that point, that Diddy was found innocent on some of those charges. Again, I'm gonna have to fully read into that case. And then a few days later, all of this kicks off and they're basically trying to bury this other case, which also involves famous people and very bad behaviour towards young girls and, you know, sex trafficking and all these things. It's just very bizarre to me, and it just all seems a little too convenient to be normal. It's just all very strange. I want to know what you guys think about all that in the comments, because again, this is all just, it's a little too, you know, it's all rubbing me entirely the wrong way, and I don't know. Again, I do want to know what you guys think in the comments about that, because it obviously is a big case. It took over like the internet, but also just people in general, people's curiosity for now, like what, 6 years, because he died in 2019. So it's been a while, it's been a long time that we've been waiting for this, and the fact that now it's being closed completely and it's being kind of brushed under the rug is just very, very suspicious to me. I can't help but be suspicious, okay? And again, this is all alleged. I'm not trying to accuse Trump of anything, 100%, but like, you know, it's just all very fascinating. Again, I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Okay, I'm taking a risk and doing like the copper shade on my lid because my dress has kind of got some bits of brown and copper in. Another, if you can see. If at any point in my videos, by the way, if you're a woman, you're curious about the makeup side of things, I'll always leave out all the products I use in the description. I'm currently using the Botanical palette by Beauty Bay, this thing, because it's got a load of greens in it and it needs some green eyeshadow, and this is beautiful. Yeah, I am taking a risk. I hope this works out. If it doesn't, I'm gonna cry. So pray for me. But yeah, another thing, whilst we're on the topic of kind of like sex trafficking and all these things, another thing I was going to talk about in this episode was the Tate brothers, because allegedly, well, not allegedly, this has actually kind of come out. I kind of hate that. Why did I do this to myself? Okay, it's okay, we're gonna fix it. But yeah, one of the women who was coming out and basically saying all these things about like the sex trafficking, and the women who were pressing charges has now dropped the charges and so now they could potentially be innocent, which again is a whole thing. Now, when it comes to the Tates, I've not really talked about them that much on my channel before because I can't bloody stand them. I think they are a really, really bad role model for young boys and young men, and I just think they are corrupting quite a lot of people. I know some people like them because of some of the things that they say, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like some of the things, okay, maybe just about passable, but the majority of the stuff is absolute misogynistic drivel, and I'm just gonna say it as it is. It's really degrading towards women, and when all this stuff was coming out about them, I wasn't shocked at all. I mean, obviously they've been made innocent once before, but in this case, I really don't think that they're going to be able to get out of it. I mean, again, you don't know what's going to happen. It's all very strange. I mean, we've seen this happen before when people have made kind of really bad accusations about somebody and then they've gone back on it. Well, I mean, I think the most scandalous thing about when this all came out was the fact that the alleged victim had then said that they were paid to make the charges, which is very interesting because it's like, okay, normally it's like hush money to not talk about it, but this time it was like, okay, paying you money to talk about it is bizarre to me. So again, we'll see what happens there. I mean, the last time I think I mentioned that I think I did actually mention this a few weeks ago, that they'd been charged in the UK with sex trafficking and stuff, and they were being brought over here to be prosecuted, which I was like, yay! Because again, can't stand the guys. I think they're disgusting human beings. But it was just interesting to see that. But yeah, it was also just interesting to see this now, kind of the backtracking, and of course they both made videos and they were all like, see, this is what happens, they were lying, this lying bitch was doing all this, blah blah, and I'm like, every time I look at their face, they just want to. Tristan, not so much. He's a little bit more attractive than Andrew, but like Andrew, you just want to punch him. He's got a very punchable face. I won't lie. And I mean, I think we've actually talked about them before when I made a video about when Greta was going over to Gaza, because they're both. Well, I don't think they both are. I think Andrew definitely is. I'm not entirely sure about Tristan, but they're Muslim. They proclaim to be Muslims, and they obviously support Palestine, and which is another reason to hate them. So again, leave all your thoughts about that in the comments. The other thing I wanted to talk about, this is kind of before all the Epstein stuff came out, all the little bits that I was compiling together to talk about today. Nigel Farage has come out and said that he is left wing on immigration. Where was that on our 2025 bingo card? Not on mine. Nowhere to be seen. What the what? I was so shocked. This was a British Stan video that I watched from Dan, like he said this, and I was like, what in the 2025? I mean, we've talked about my fading trust for Nigel over the past kind of few months, and oh my god, has that just continued to escalate with the amount of crap that this man is now spewing. It is insane. That has kind of fixed it. Does that look cool now? Yeah, it does. Okay. But yeah, he's now said that, oh, I'm a lot more left-wing on immigration than a lot of people, and he said by the time it gets to the next election, the Conservatives are going to be more right-wing than me, which is odd because beforehand he was saying that the Conservatives have gone so left-wing, which, okay, in a way, if you guys know, I've been a Conservative since 2019. I'm clinging on to my membership for grim death with a little bit of hope that there still is there. But yeah, in terms of this, I don't know, in terms of the Conservatives, I agree that sometimes in their policies and the things that they did, especially when they were in power, were a little bit kind of left-wing than what people were probably expecting, which is what, especially like in lockdown with the financial policies that they were coming out with. But it was helping people, so like with furlough and stuff, so we didn't really complain that much. But, and then in terms of obviously the weakness on immigration, okay, fair enough, I get that entirely, right? But in terms of this, it's like, are you kidding me? Nigel Farage, the man who, and I've said several times on this podcast, we wouldn't know the extent to which immigration had got bad in 2020 if it wasn't for him going down in his boat to Dover. Like, I've said this so many times on the channel, if you've been here a while you know this, but now he's coming out and saying, oh yeah, like I'm really like left-wing on immigration. What? And then literally the day after I checked Twitter and he said that he was like going down to Dover in his boat, stay tuned. The man confuses me entirely and immensely, and I give up. I give up with Nigel Farage. Like, I gave up a while ago, but even more now I'm just like, mate, do one. No, nobody cares anymore. Like, just go away. Just get out of it. Absolutely insane. Again, 2025 bingo card. Nigel Farage saying he's left with, where was that? Where was that? Like, absolutely, where was that? Insane. I want to know if you guys have heard about this. Like, let me know what you think in the comments. Oh my god, that's going to be a fun discussion, isn't it? But like, in what world? I mean, and I wanted to talk about Advanced UK and, well, I think I did, didn't I? Advanced UK, like Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe's party. Thank you, by the way, on last week's podcast episode for people who corrected me by saying that Rupert Lowe's is a think tank instead of a party, because I did get that wrong in that episode, and I do want to just say, like, cheers for the people who corrected me in the comments. But again, I think my point still stands in that episode where I was like, yeah, but at the same time, like, where are you gonna go? Like, I don't know. Like, this was not the move to make. Like, I still say that was not the move to make at all. I just feel like he messed up his chances. Like, they could have been so great together if they just formed that party together and they just, like, stood fast with themselves. That and each other, like, that would have been incredible, and I still think that they would have been stronger that way, but obviously they've decided not to do that, which is their own prerogative, and who am I to judge? But yeah, again, I just want to say thanks to the people who actually corrected me in the comments of that video, because I did get that wrong. But again, I think my point does still stand in what I said, in that, yeah, in terms of parties, like, things are going downhill. And this is a point that Maya 2C likes to make in his videos quite a lot, especially recently, is that, like, don't vote for individuals, like, and voting as a whole has kind of lost its power a little bit in terms of, like, the power that it has, because everyone's kind of the same. And it's just interesting how people can rally behind an individual. Messed that up entirely, haven't I? What the fuck? This is looking beautiful. Look at that over there, and then look at that. What have I done? Okay, let's fix that somehow. I don't know how. Okay, I'm gonna fix this. It's okay. It's okay. Panic not, guys. Well, me, because you guys don't care. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's all very interesting, it's all very fascinating, and again, I want to know what you guys think in the comments about all of this. I think I am done talking. I'm gonna fix my makeup somehow and then come back and finish the rest of the episode, okay? Okay, this is what the makeup ended up looking like. That's my lip liner. Alright. Yeah, this episode's been a little bit chaotic, I do apologise. Another thing I wanted to mention as well in the things I talked about today is, has anyone else seen the latest footage from the Manchester airport attack? That whole thing, obviously we can't really comment on the case at the moment because it's live and it's ongoing and all the regular things, but I just want to know if anyone's seen that, what anyone's thoughts are, without prejudice of the case, condemned to court, all the stuff in the comments. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Lying Donald Trump. Do we think this is going to continue? Do we actually think the Epstein files are out there and they're now covering it up for some reason? Or do we think that... Because that's my only thought. That's the only thought that's coming to my mind, is that's the only thing that could possibly be it, right? And for some reason they're now covering them up. I don't know why. We might find out why. I don't know. This is all very strange. Just your thoughts on the whole Epstein situation as well in the comments as well. Your thoughts on the Diddy case and whether they're maybe linked again with the cover-up, allegedly. I don't know. That's my thoughts. That's my opinion. But yeah, again, anything to do with the Tates as well, or with Ben Habib and Reaper Lowe and that whole situation. I mean, I know we talked about that last week's episode, but yeah, just give me your thoughts on everything going on in the world at the moment in the comments. Let's have a good old discussion. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, make sure to subscribe, and we're trying to get to 1,000. I'm really close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could subscribe, that would be great. Leave a like, as I said already, so you don't miss out on any more of my podcast episodes. I do upload every week, and I do upload little shorts throughout the week if there's any kind of breaking news, things that I don't want to talk about on the podcast necessarily, but I'll talk about on a short. I do those as well. And again, if you're interested in the makeup side of things, if you are, I know that's a very small amount of you, but I do leave everything I've used in the comments, not in the comments, in the description. You should be in the comments. And I will see you guys next week for another chaotic podcast episode. We'll see. I'll see you guys next week.